That's right, everybody. We're talking about how do you create a ghost tour, and Steve and Ginger created one here in Oldsmar, Florida. Should I play the promo now, or should we wait till we get going?
Let's wait till we get going.
Okay, so we're ready to bring in Ginger?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, everybody. So we are talking about how to create a ghost tour, and now we're bringing in our wonderful friend Ginger.
Hey, Ginger, how are you?
Hey, how you doing? I'm good.
We're good. Thank you so much for taking time out on a Wednesday to chat with us, and it's always a pleasure to talk with you. And you've always been a good friend of ours and a good friend of Phantom History House, and an amazing co-tour guide. So we appreciate that too. And hello, Susan, watching from Inverness.
Yeah, thank you. And everybody, tell us where you're watching from. And if you have any questions for us as we're talking about ghost tours, tell us about your favorite ghost tour. We can talk about the ghost tour you guys created.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
How that.
And I guess, just to lay some background on some groundwork before we ask our first question and start talking about it. Again, the Oldsmar Ghost Tour is a year old. We launched it last September, actually last August. We did a test run with some important people that were involved from the early beginnings. But it was really Ginger's connections to Oldsmar that kind of helped pull this all together. So I'm super grateful for that. And Ginger, I don't know how well you remember how this all came together, but because it's been a little while.
It's been a while for sure,
but do you remember how this kind of got rolling from your point of view?
Well, the funny thing is, I mean, I've lived in Oldsmar a long time, so I know a lot of people. And one of the ladies that work at the Historical Society, Miss Jerry, I had talked to her many years ago. I said, Jerry, I am dying to start a ghost tour here in Oldsmar. And I sort of let it go. Life goes on and you get busy. And it must have been last spring, I get a call from Jerry. And she goes, guess what? You're going to have to meet this guy. He just came into the Historical Society and he wants to start a ghost tour. And she's telling me about Phantom History House. And she, I think, was the one that connected us both. And that's when we came out, Jerry and I came out to Phantom History House to meet you. Yeah. And then it really just started rolling from there. Is that the way you remember it?
That's exactly right. Yeah, I had gone to an Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce meeting early in 23, and it was held at the Historical Society where I met Jerry. And same thing, when I told her about what we were doing and how I've done ghost tours before and how I wanted to start one, she's like, I have somebody you need to meet. Yeah. And she mentioned you right away.
And actually, I don't think she was the only one, Ginger. A lot of people kept going, do you know Ginger? Like, we kept hearing that. Of course, everybody knows you because you're important. And
I'm the queen of Halloween in Oldsmar. So
you are the queen of Halloween in Oldsmar.
So many people mentioned you that it was exciting to finally meet you because we were sort of like, well, who is this Ginger person that everybody keeps talking about?
Well, that was nice of them. That was very nice of them.
So I'm curious, Ginger, what made you want to do a ghost tour? I mean, you've been talking about this for years. What kind of inspired that?
So I guess it's sort of similar to the people you meet when you're conducting a ghost tour. Why do people go on ghost tours? And a lot of the time, most of the time, I'm going to say, is because those people at some time in their life have experienced something paranormal. And it was like that for me. I grew up in upstate New York in a very small town, and I lived in a very old farmhouse that was haunted. And I was a young teenager then. So I learned early on in life about ghosts, and I was always fascinated with them for that reason. But,
wow.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense too, because a lot of people that come to Phantom History House to spend the night or for an event or something, a lot of people will, once they realize it's a safe space and they're comfortable, go, well, this happened to me, and everybody seems to have a story.
Yeah.
Or they know somebody that it happened to.
Yeah, that's the biggest compliment we can get here is when somebody's comfortable enough to tell those stories. And I have to say, Ginger, having done the ghost tour with you for the past year, you are an amazing storyteller. You do a really good job of sharing the stories. And you and I, just if you haven't been on the tour, Ginger and I sometimes will tag team a tour, kind of take turns at different stops. Sometimes I'll just be the guide. Sometimes Ginger's the only guide. It really depends on our schedules. But I feel like when we tag team, we really support each other, which is really well. And we came up with the idea early on to not only tell the stories, but to have visual aids as well, which I think is a big plus.
Which we've always liked if we've gone on a ghost tour and then they whip out an iPad or something and show you the picture or whatever. So everybody, we're talking about ghost tours. If you've had a favorite ghost tour, put something in the comments. If you have questions for Steve and Jerry sorry, we were just talking about Jerry, Steve and Ginger about how they started the Oldsmar Ghost Tour, that's what we're talking about right now. Please let us know and let us know where you're listening from.
Yeah, and a follow-up question for you, Ginger. Do you remember, do you have a favorite ghost tour that you've been on? that kind of like impacted you? Like, oh, this is cool, and I want to do this more often.
Besides ours.
Besides ours, of course.
Okay. I've been on a lot of ghost tours all over the country. But actually, one of my favorites was one I recently went on with my grandson in St. Augustine. It was the ghost hunt at the old jail. It's called After Dark at the old jail. And my grandson is also interested in spirits, and he's almost 16 now. So he really got a lot out of it. I think he had some kind of strange things happen to him. We got a lot of voice images and so forth. But I think that was my favorite because I got to share it with my grandson.
Yeah, and we've had the opportunity to meet your grandson, and he's been on the tour. He's been here. Such a cool kid, and he's always so into it. I love it when he joins us. By this point, we always joke he could lead the tour.
He could. He's working up to that, so yes.
Oh, that's awesome. So since we're talking about it, should we share our favorite ghost tours?
Sure, yeah. Absolutely.
And everybody, if you're watching, type in if you've been on one you really love. We'd love to know.
Yeah. You go first. What was your favorite ghost tour?
Well, I mean, we've been on a lot of really great ghost tours. You have taken me along with you on a lot of ghost tours now. But I have to tell you, my favorite one was the Broadway theaters in New York City. It was so cool. We splurged for our own individual tour guide, which really made it a special experience for us. And we were in New York City in the evening while the theaters are all doing their shows. And our tour guide was an actual Broadway performer. And she took us, and we went outside and stood out in front of one of the Broadway theaters where a show was going on inside. And she'd tell us a story of how, of course, you expect haunted theaters in a place like New York City. But I loved that tour. Our tour guide was just phenomenal. And she was actually recently a swing in Merrily We Roll Along on Broadway. So I was like, I'm meeting somebody that's actually on Broadway, in a musical. I thought it was very amazing.
Yeah, and I like the historical aspect too. And to answer Tom's question, who's in the chat, when do our tours start up? So we have our first tour scheduled for September 20th. Our plan is to have them on Fridays from September 20th on. But of course, if you have a group that wants to take the Oldsmar tour, you can shoot us an email or contact us through our contact page, and we can arrange a different night if necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. We had people say like, hey, our whole neighborhood community likes to do things together. And they would book one like on a Sunday night or something. So please contact us.
Yeah. And then a couple of them, we would invite them back here to the house and see the B&B, depending on what we have going on here. So we can certainly work with schedules. For me, I think my favorite ghost tour, and I've been on a ton of them too.
I know you
the St. Augustine one is amazing. We've gone to tons all over the place. The New York one was great, but I think the first one I went on really stands out to me. I went on a ghost tour in New Orleans in my early 20s, and I had never done anything like that before. And of course, New Orleans is just the perfect spot for
it's like the best place for a ghost tour.
And same thing like you were talking about with the storyteller we had in New York. This woman was amazing, and I had some high school kids with me. I was actually chaperoning a trip, and they were all convinced by the end of the tour that this woman was a vampire. So I didn't tell them yes or no, but I just thought it was fantastic. She was that good at telling her story. So I was like, okay, I want to do this. And then as I traveled, I would do more tours. And then I actually worked for a couple of tour companies, one in Ybor City and one in Tampa. And then kind of have used that to kind of help with the tour that Ginger and I created.
You see, Tom in the comments mentions New Orleans.
Yeah.
He said the one in New Orleans scared him to death.
Yeah.
So I certainly understand that. I really enjoyed our trip to New Orleans, and we did a lot of spooky stuff there.
We did cemetery tours.
Imagine that, everybody.
Shocking. Now, the interesting thing about our ghost tour, though, Ginger, is that we have stories that are really kind of unlike any other ghost tours I've been on. And I wonder if you could talk about that a little bit, like where we got our ideas and where we got our stories.
And here's the thing that attracted me to you as a partner in this is because you've done ghost tours before. And I have lived here so long and I know the stories from people. So the combination of the two is really the boost that got us started. But I really do appreciate the fact that we've included a lot of local history in the tours too. I think it makes it way more interesting for people. But our ghost tours stories are a little bit different than St. Augustine. Osceola got his head chopped off. That was 400 years ago. So ours are a little more current because when we started this ghost tour, the people whose houses we are talking about most of them still live in those houses. They are current stories, and I think that makes us a little bit different than other ghost tours. And I really like that fact. And maybe you can tell the story of how we got the first ghost tour going with all of those people.
Yeah, I mean, and to Ginger's point, we got the stories. Most of the stories that we share are directly from the people who experience those.
And that to me makes it really special.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to say like, okay, everybody's always said, or we researched it and we people are saying this, but like these people actually, that this was the most interesting part for me, was these homeowners of nearby Oldsmar came here to Phantom History House, sat in a big circle in the library, and they told us their stories right there in front of everybody. So it's like, that it's real because the person who experienced it in their own home is sharing the story with everyone. I was appreciative of how open and vulnerable people were being to tell their story.
Yeah, and it goes back to the compliment we like here at the house when people say they're comfortable enough to share those stories.
Right.
And I remember, I put my phone down in the middle of the room as everybody sat down to record the conversation with everybody's permission, of course. And then that's how we built it from there. And I remember as these stories were being told, every once in a while I would lock eyes with Ginger and be like, whoa. Or I look over at Tim and he was going, "You're
Whoa, this is cool." Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the fascinating thing to me is like, I don't know if I could stay living in the house when there's something really dramatic happening. These people were incredibly brave to me. I mean, a lot of them were resolved and they had somebody come in and help, but sometimes it didn't seem that way.
Right. Like,
I thought they were all really impressive. Yeah. The way they told their story and the way they've been handling, this thing. Not all of them were terrible and scary.
Well, there was a couple that were incredibly scary.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would have stayed in the house if I had lived through what they were telling us.
So this is what's so interesting, everybody, is like, these are real stories from the people that are living in those houses. Most of them right now, they told them to us. And then to Ginger's point, you guys took them on the tour.
Yeah. We wanted to make sure that they were comfortable with the way we were sharing the story, because obviously we can't share every detail and we were not going to remember every single detail that we wrote down. So we wanted to make sure that they were comfortable with our style. So with Ginger's help, we were able to invite all of them to a night that worked well for them in August. So we were sweating our everything off. And
it was a little swampy.
A little swampy. But I mean, I think we scored like a 95%. I mean, they were like, "Oh, this is great. This is great. Ooh, maybe don't share that little part," but overall they were very happy with it. And I think they appreciated that we took the time to do that.
Yeah, it's so respectful to the people and to their stories. And Ginger, I think a lot of that comes back to you because you had their trust.
Yeah.
That's what your part was so important, that they felt so comfortable with you and trusted you that they were willing to share their story for the tour.
And that was a big part of it. And I appreciate that. And I still love all of them. I think they're all cool. They still ask about the ghost tour. There's a couple of houses on the ghost tour that I'll make sure when we're doing a ghost tour, hey, the ghost tour is coming by tonight, just so you know. So we're in contact all the time, back and forth with the people on the tour.
And we always get such positive feedback. Not this spring, late winter, I did a tour, and Ginger, I don't think you did it with me. I was by myself. And one of the homeowners actually walked by us as I was telling the stories. And they were just like, "Believe them. We told them the story. It's true." And they just kept on walking. And the people I was with was like, "For real?"
Right.
Yeah, and I really do think that makes this very unique.
It's very unique. It's very unique.
Because they told us this, they told you guys the stories,
Exactly.
And then you confirmed it, and then you checked it. Like, it's very thoughtfully and professionally done.
Well, and again, it goes back to Ginger for this as well, is that we also worked with the city of Oldsmar to make sure that they were okay with us doing this. And Ginger introduced me to the right people for that.
Well, I hope I did. I think I did. And I think they're happy with the fact that we're doing a ghost tour. It brings some notoriety to Oldsmar. Ghosts are very popular for a city to have, believe it or not.
Yes.
And I'm hoping by maybe this podcast or through our ghost tour starting up again, that we find some other residents of Oldsmar who want to share their story with us.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure they're out there. And we've had a couple people tell us little tidbits of things that have happened since they know the ghost tour is going on. But I'll bet you there's more out there, and I'm hoping to hear from those people.
Yeah, I think you're right too. And want to say hi to Tina Marie for watching so
Marie.
far. Hey, Tina, thank you for watching. Yeah, we always say that when we do the ghost stories. You know, if you're a local resident and you have a story, you know somebody who does have a story, I think it can constantly evolve, and we can add.
And Ginger just said something, and I think it's really interesting that having ghost stories about your place where you live, I think it adds, it gives gravity to the history. I'm not trying to, like, you know what I mean? Like if you've had like everybody's knows exciting and wonderful and scary and wild things always happen wherever you are. But the fact that, like, oh, there's a ghost story here, I don't know. I think it adds a little oomph to the history side. Can you say it better?
Well, I don't know what word I can use instead of oomph. But no, I think you're right. You know,
I think it does.
I always joke, you know, if something's going to haunt me, I want to know who they are. After the history part comes in, and I think that, you know, we show documentation, we show, you know, some of our research.
You show a lot of pictures of the buildings and the people that you're talking about. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, and you know, we keep it very factual. Like, we start with our talk about Ari Olds and how he founded the city, and we show his picture, you know. And if you're not from Oldsmar, you don't usually know that tidbit of
Correct. And a quick shout out to another Jerry, one of our ex-mayors, who's also the town historian,
yes,
who we sat down with at length and got some of the historical facts, the backgrounds for some of these stories. So shout out to Jerry, because he was a big help.
Absolutely. And that was such an amazing day.
Yes.
Ginger and I went and visited with him, and we were there for like 2 hours. And it was absolutely fascinating.
Very kind of him to give you his time and to share his stories.
And how very kind of his wife. He would have talked for 4 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah. So everybody, the ghost tours start back up here in Oldsmar. Phantom History House with Ginger are presenting these starting in September 20th. And on Fridays, all throughout the season. And so you can go to our website at phantomhistory.com and go to the events tab and look them up.
Yeah, and Susan just commented, you know, Casadega in Lake Helen, Florida is awesome. Casadega is amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
If you haven't had a chance to go there, we didn't do a tour when we went there, but it was just like we
had a wonderful day.
Yeah, you pull into that town and you just like feel this eerie peacefulness. It's just insane. I absolutely love it. So to your point, Susan, I love it there. And we get that comment a lot. I was like, oh, have you ever been to Casadega? Have you ever been to New Orleans? Have you ever been to St. Augustine? And, you know, while Oldsmar is not those places, I would love for Oldsmar to get that notoriety, because there are some amazing stories in Oldsmar, historical and paranormal, which I love. And Ginger, you said that you have known a lot of these stories for a long time. What is it like for you to finally be able to tell them to people? What's that experience like?
I'm glad to tell them that I have permission now to tell them. You know, I knew a lot of things because of my line of work, but I never felt at liberty to share them with other people because they're not my stories to tell. But now, with their permission, they are my stories to tell. And I really enjoy telling them. I think it gives flavor to the community. That's what it does.
I love that.
That's a great way to phrase it.
That's a great way to phrase it.
That's better than oomph. I like that there's flavor to the community.
Nice job, Ginger. You did a better job than I did.
Yeah, and you know, and Oldsmar is just such a cool little city anyway. I mean, everybody's always so friendly. I run into people at the grocery store and they ask about the tour and how's it going, and you know, no new hauntings yet, but I'll let you know, that kind of thing, which I absolutely love. And you know, this is another credit to Ginger. Whenever we do have guests here at the house who decide that they want to do the tour, I'll let Ginger know. She makes herself available, and always get amazing compliments for the work that you do there, Ginger. And when people take our tour, they like it, and they always say, "This is unlike any tour I've ever done before."
Really good. That's really good.
So, Ginger, have you done theater before or something? Because you're a very good storyteller. Seriously, like you get very dramatic and you tell the story, and I think that makes for a really interesting tour.
I have done theater a little bit, yes, and I enjoy it. So it's right up my alley. No one ever accused me of being shy, so that was not an issue.
Well, and speaking of theater, we have to point out that there's somebody standing behind you, and I thought people might be wondering what that is. Do you mind panning up just a little bit?
I love this.
That's fantastic.
And it's Dumbledore.
So
it is Dumbledore.
I love it.
You are
I
the
love
queen of
Harry Potter.
Halloween of Oldsmar, so
Yes.
pops are always nearby.
And he's always in my office. He's sort of like my bodyguard. So
Bodyguard and good luck charm. You know,
there you go.
I wouldn't mess with you with him standing right there. He creeps me out.
Nobody ever messed with Dumbledore. So
That's true. That's true.
Everybody was scared of him.
So do you want to show the clip of the ghost tour?
Absolutely. So everybody, we're talking about the ghost tour of Oldsmar, how it got started. I love the fact that we have stories from the people that are living there. They told the stories to you guys themselves in person, have their permission. I love that. Here's a little promo about the tour.
Take a tour of nearby historic Oldsmar, a town named by an automobile icon and with its own secrets to share. Join me, Steve, as I take you past some of Oldsmar's oldest buildings and share stories of the spirits that residents say still linger in this quaint city. Join Phantom History House, a bed and breakfast experience this fall for the best place to celebrate your Halloween season.
Very nice.
All right. So no, I mean, I'm really proud of you guys. I remember the very beginning when you guys just first started talking about it, and it was like a monumental undertaking. I mean, collecting the stories, writing the script, getting permission, talking to all. I mean, it was a lot of work.
Figuring out the route.
Yeah, I mean, a lot went into it.
And, we're still working on it. We just a few weeks ago, we did an investigation with Feeling Paranormal with Ginger's help and investigated 2 buildings that are nearby or on the route that hopefully we'll be able to add to a little bit. I don't know, Ginger, if you wanted to share anything about that. We don't have all the results yet, so we can't share anything.
I think I'd rather surprise people. They are 2 older buildings in Oldsmar that we passed by, and we're very lucky to have permission to conduct an investigation there. And Steve and I were both there for the investigations at separate buildings, and they were super interesting.
They were super interesting. And in both locations, we got some things. We got some evidence. Nothing floated away, nothing too crazy, but we did get some really cool evidence. And once we get the official report, Ginger and I will talk and hopefully be able to incorporate those into the tour as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And hey, everybody, thank you, Tom and Susan and Kelly, for watching. And Kelly, yes, you and I need to talk about our trip to Casadega that you and I took. Yes. And I guarantee you would love it. They're super peaceful. And Susan's asking again when the ghost tour starts back up.
So again, the ghost tours will start on September 20th, which is a Friday. And then our goal is to have one every Friday night, well into the cooler months, even past Halloween and into like the Christmas season. But if you have a group or large or small who has another day in mind that would work better for you, reach out to us. We're happy to coordinate with you if we're able to. But those are kind of like our standard nights, because also coming up this fall on Saturdays, on most Saturdays, we're going to do our ghost stories around the campfire, which we do out in front of Phantom History House. We roast some marshmallows, all that kind of good stuff. So we have the 2 events kind of going on at the same time on different nights.
But if you want to make your plans for your ghost tour now, you can go to phantomhistory.com/events or just click on our events tab, and you will see that there are already a bunch of dates where you can make plans and buy tickets and plan to go. Starting on September 20th is all those Fridays.
Yeah, and we can. I think we've only hit this once. I think we've said we can take like 20 people at once, kind of at the most, just so we can so you can hear us and we can make it. Of course, we can be a little bit flexible if we have to.
Sure.
But yeah, we've had as few as 2 people and as many as almost 20. So it's kind of like this whole thing. And sometimes they all know each other and sometimes they don't. And they're good friends by the end of the night.
And here's what I would say. Listen, get a group together, come spend the night at Phantom History House, and then tell us, hey, we want to go on a ghost tour that night, that we're, have a dinner, then go on the ghost tour or vice versa. It's really a fun way to do it. And we are happy to, if we can, schedule a special tour for you and your friends or your group that's going to be here. So we hope that you'll come stay.
Yeah.
Then it's like the complete experience. I'll bake something. There's wine, there's desserts. You can have dinner, go on the tour, come back, relax, enjoy the house. It's a great experience.
Yeah. And the ghost tours typically start at 7:30. So it's usually right as the sun's going down. Of course, later in the year, it's darker. We do have flashlights. We do have lanterns. So you can see what's going on. And we even have a stop along the way where we provide some water to kind of get you rehydrated. So we try to make it as easy as possible, and it covers about a mile or so is how long the walk.
And tickets are $25 for each person, although there is a group rate if you're bringing a whole group in, so you can contact us about that. If you want to bring a group, we can probably work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
all the information is on there's a ghost tour page on our website that has a lot of information.
you can tell we like ghost tours. Ginger, before we let you go and reclaim your Wednesday evening, is there anything else you wanted to share about the ghost tour, or about the experience, or the building of it that maybe we didn't touch on?
No, I actually think we hit it all. I cannot wait for them to start again. I'm very excited for them to start again because I saw your post. Yes, anything after July 4th is all geared toward Halloween. I'm already in motion of Halloween. Ghost tours fit right in. Everyone's thinking that now with school starting. Yep, it's time to think about Halloween. I can't wait to do them again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell him that all the time, once July 4th's done, it's planning mode. And we've been working here on props and getting stuff ready, as you've seen. And I know you're doing the same thing over there at your place. And Kelly, yes, I will be more than happy to push you in your wheelchair if I need to during the tour. We can definitely.
Yeah, we've definitely made accommodations for all different kind of situations. You did a driving tour one time.
I did. I had a group. So someone had some mobility issues, and it just so happened that my Jeep had the top off and the doors off. So we did a topless, doorless ghost tour.
That was really fun. Yeah, everybody seemed to love it. So there's always a way to make this work. Just contact us if you have any questions about that.
Absolutely.
But it's a great event for the evening, and especially when people are really in the mood once the Halloween season gets here. It's a really fun thing. Get a group together.
Yeah, and as Ginger said, adds flavor to the community. So
it does. Ginger, anything you want to say as we're closing about the tour that you'd want people to know, or anything else?
Anything else? No, I really appreciate you guys. I think you've done an awesome job. Steve and I think we've done an awesome job together, but you have done such a good job adding to the community of Oldsmar and creating Phantom History House for so many people to enjoy. So I really thank you guys for that.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. I appreciate
very
it.
Sweet of you. Thank you so much. And
as I said, Ginger really made the tour possible. I mean, she knew everybody. They felt comfortable working with her and with you, and you both are great at
Yeah, she got me connected. We kind of complimented each other. She got me connected to the right people. I was able to use my past tour experience, and we were able to
so you guys have been a great team on making this happen.
There's actually a picture that you took of us that maybe we'll share not too long, that of the day we sat down in the dining room here at Phantom History House and started working on the script.
Oh my gosh.
I do have that picture.
You have that picture. We'll have to.
I'm sorry I don't have it ready tonight, everybody.
We'll have to share that. Well,
yes, share that one.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work to begin with. It was quite a bit of work in preparation, but it was worth it. And the fact that we did the first tour as sort of a drive run with the actual people made it even better. So.
Yeah, that was very cool. And again, everybody, get a group together for the tour. Even better, book the house, have all your friends or family here, have a ghost tour as part of your night stay. Lots of ways we can make this really special for you and your group. And I love that when people do that.
Yeah. And when we get back here, we're still telling ghost stories. So there's no shortage of ghost stories for sure. But yeah, all the information is on phantomhistory.com, phantomhistory.com/events. And of course, if you are watching this live, thank you so much for tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. And especially thank you, Ginger, for taking time out on a Wednesday to chat with us.
You're very welcome. Have a good night, you guys.
Right.
You did a great job. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for watching.